So I called my mom, and I'm like, what do I do? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. Called a friend. I'm like, what do I do? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So last week's video, I promised an update or a story time about what went wrong last weekend, and I told you I was probably going to film it immediately. Well, I lied. I decided to wait until I had my sister here with me because she was there. So we're going to update you guys together on this. First of all, why are you like way far over? We'll start off at the beginning. So last weekend was literally like the pinnacle of bad luck.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it started from the minute I woke up.
You woke up late.
I woke up late. My sister woke me up. I was supposed to get out because we were leaving early. Like, we had to be 2 hours away by 10 a.m. I think I said I'd get up at 6:30 and you'd get up at 7. Just so we could shower before my kid wakes up really early. He's usually out of bed by like 7. So I was like, I would like to have a shower before he wakes up. So I set my alarm for 6:30. And she woke me up at 5 to 7. And I was like,
oh, have you showered yet? And you're like, nope, jumping in there now.
So yeah, so basically, oh, you just shrunk. You look like the character in Beetlejuice. You know what I mean? Isn't there like a really small-headed person in Beetlejuice?
How does that look?
No, like you went really far back and your head just like, anyway, there's a really small-headed person in Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought I was making it up. Anyways, so literally from the get-go. And then, like, right before we left the house, I went back, like, okay, so yeah, everything... What?
I'm watching my neck.
Well, stop.
It's like a turkey neck.
So we are getting ready to leave the house, and I realized the TV was still on, so I go in to turn off the TV, and I look, and literally the kids have just demolished the living room. So, like, we wanted to leave before 8 o'clock, and it was already, like, 8:30, and I'm, like, they're all in, like, the kids and Callie are all in the car, and I text Callie, and I'm like, no, I think I called you.
Called me.
I was like, get them
now.
back in this house.
Yeah.
I was like, if we leave this house like this, Mom is going to have an episode. So, we need to freaking... Could you imagine if Mom came home to that? Like,
what the...
yeah, it would have been a loud phone call. So yeah, I was like, get them back in here. In my house, they don't make messes that they don't clean up, you know, or else the toys just disappear. So they came back in, they cleaned up, whatever. So then we get in the car and we're like on our way. It wasn't like, you know, we were fine. It was a great little 5-minute journey to Tim Hortons where we were like, let's get breakfast. Ha ha ha. Well, we ordered one sandwich for all of us because they were 2 for $5. Well, we got 3. And so we went back and we were like, you know what, let's just make this faster because it was lined up to the road. Let's make this faster and I'll just run in.
25 minutes later, she walks out. She's like, that was the longest 10 minutes of my life. I was like, you were gone for 25.
Yeah. So, you know, 25 more minutes gone. It's like 5 after 9. And we're like finally now starting this trek. 2 hours away that we wanted to be there for 10. Now we're not going to be there till at least 11. You know, it's fine. We'll still get there. We'll have a great time, blah, blah, blah. And so... we're driving. It's about an hour into the drive where I look down and I see my battery lights on.
Yeah. Oh, that was me.
I realize. Oh, it was like a spring?
Yeah.
I was like, bro. So I look down and I see that my battery light's on. And I'm like, okay, so when we get to the zoo, I'll get someone to boost it. Or, like, it was a Saturday, so it wasn't like I could pull into a service station. Like, we weren't, like, on, like, the big highway. We were taking most of the back roads, and the battery light turns on. So I'm like, what?
Uh-oh.
I'm like, okay, well, it'll be fine. I've been having transmission issues, not battery issues, so I'll just get it boosted when I can. I don't really know. I was just like, honestly, there's no point in really stressing about it. My car's still running. That's all that really matters. Well, I spoke too soon. We missed our turn, and so Callie says, Michelle, you need to turn there. And I'm like, oh.
Okay.
Cool. So next driveway, I'm like, all right, let's turn. And I realize I can't move my steering wheel. My steering wheel has, like, seized up, and I'm like, you want me to pull in this one? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. No, so, like, I turned and it was hard. Like, and she was like, I can feel it grinding.
Feel it pulling.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. So we pull out, and like I said, I was having transmission issues, so what do? I get out, and I'm like, okay, clearly I just need to put some transmission fluid in my car. So I used the rest of the bottle I had. And,
which we put the first part of the bottle in that morning.
That night.
The night before, right.
I pulled my car into this person's driveway and turned it around, and we went back on the road, missed our turn again. And then we ended up in front of this random house, and my car was no longer moving. So I called my mom, and I'm like, what do I do? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. Called a friend. I'm like, what do I do? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. And then when
called my father-in-law, and I said, what do I do? He said, it could be this, could be that. I don't know. Sorry.
So we sat there and just like stared at each other for like 10 minutes, and then turned on the car. We're able to drive it for like, 35 seconds. Got to this guy's driveway. So we pull into this guy's driveway, and he's outside. So I'm like, maybe he can give my car a boost. Like, he had like a really big, beautiful house. He had like 4 cars, and I'm like, he must know something about vehicles. No. Well, literally, he comes over, and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, can you give me a boost? He's like, I don't think it's gonna help you. I think you blew your alternator. I'm like, oh, great. So then my mom calls the mechanic from here in town, and he's like, sounds like your alternator's blown. You should just, his suggestion was, go and get a cheap battery dropped in your car, and in about 30-45 minutes you'll have to replace that battery. So then just pull over at the nearest service station after and replace your battery again. I'm like, no. You want me to buy what, like 3? It's gonna take me like 6 batteries to get home. Like,
we're Flintstoning it by that time.
Yeah, like, why would I do that? So the suggestion of the gentleman whose driveway I was in was to drive it as far as I could and call for help from there. So we were like, you know what, let's drive it as far as we can to the zoo. Hopefully we'll get to the zoo and then have it towed or whatever from there. Well, we didn't make it to the zoo. We made it 4 minutes closer, and by the time we got to where we were, nothing in my dashboard worked. The engine light went out. The ABS light that was on went out. The four ways turned off. Everything. It was all gone. And I was like, it was getting really, really hard. Like, it was steering me off the road.
And it was clunking.
And it was clunking.
Trying to shift gears, and it was like, do-do.
Yeah, so, because it's an automatic. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to park it here. So we literally pulled off the road and waited like 20 minutes, and it wouldn't even start. So some guy pulls over, and he's like, oh, here, I'm going to, like, he was an elder gentleman, and after talking to him, he said he was 85. 85. And it was like, literally, like, one of the hottest days.
They were out for, like, a leisurely drive just to the country.
It was, like, literally, like, one of the hottest days in probably the past month. Like, it was hot. It was, like, 28 degrees outside. Boiling down, like, what do you call it? Sun. Baking in the sun. Like, it was horrible. It was great, but it was horrible. So, but here's the fun thing. You looked on one side of the road, you saw corn. You look on the other side of the road, and you saw barbed wire and corn. Like, there was nothing anywhere. So, we were just kind of stuck there on the side of the road. And this gentleman pulls up, and he's like, do you need a boost? And we were like, I think so, but I think it's my alternator, so it probably doesn't matter, because your alternator is what charges your battery, so you can give me as many boosts as you want, but I won't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. So he didn't even have booster cables. So what he did was he was very, very kind, and he had CAA, which is like on-road assistance, or what do you call that? Roadside Assistance. And so he called his CAA, and he's like, honestly, I'll get you a free tow to wherever you want to go, and you can have friends come pick you up. We were an hour and a half away from home. To have friends come and pick us up, it was, like 12 o'clock? We wouldn't even be home until, like, at least dinner time that night. Like, there was just no way. Mm-hmm. So that was, like, a thing. So, of course, we were like, okay, well, who can we call? We call, like, everybody we know, and nothing's really happening. So some lady pulls over and says, I have booster cables. And we're like, oh, that's so great. Thank you so much. I already knew it wouldn't work, but she hooked them up. Nothing happened. So then she was kind enough to drive back to her house, and she grabbed, like, books for the kids and snacks and drinks
juice
and ice and whatever else. Like, puzzles.
She offered her house for the bathroom if we needed it, and offered the shade of her tree. She
even offered to, like, let the kids go up to her place and, like, run around. She's like, oh, I've got grandkids, so we've got, like, tennis balls, whatever, we can come play. And we're like, well, one of us has to stay with the car because now there's a tow truck coming. Mm-hmm. And our plan was to get towed to the zoo where a friend would pick us up. So, okay, so after, how long were we there for? 3 hours?
Total? Almost 4 hours.
Okay, so we were almost there for 4 hours with an 85-year-old gentleman and his wife, which I imagine she's around the same age. So, I don't know how you felt about that, but I felt so horrible.
I felt so bad.
They would turn on their car every, like, 10 minutes and turn on the air conditioning and put the kids in the car so they were getting, like, they were keeping cool, and They were so, so kind. And they also...
I never got her name.
I never got her name either.
I never even Robert.
I never talked to her at all. Like, she never came out of her car.
Mm.
So, but like, they were so kind, and they were like, we're not leaving you because we know if we leave you, they'll charge you for the tow truck. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that was a thing, but thank you so much. So they waited and waited and waited, and after an hour and a half or 2 hours, we called the tow truck again because we were told that there was one sent, but nobody ever showed up. So we called again, and they never even sent one.
No.
We thought that they might have just gotten lost, but no, they literally just never sent one.
Because the second dispatcher was like, oh, yeah, we'll send that right now. Within 20 minutes, it was there.
Yeah.
But the other one, we waited and waited, and
so,
there was nothing.
So then, like, after, like, the tow truck finally showed up, and we realized, like, nobody can find a way. Because I was at this point where I was like, I'm not leaving my car. Because to leave my car means I have to pay the extra money to go back to Barrie, because we were in Barrie, right outside. We were in Stainer. So literally, I would have had to pay to go back to my car, and then I would have had to pay for a trailer or a tow truck or whatever to get it back home. So it's like, there's no way I'm leaving my car because that would just be adding an expense. Yeah. Like, that's stupid. I'd rather...
Extra stress you don't need.
So I had one friend that was offering a trailer, and unfortunately they couldn't make that work. But it's a good thing they didn't come out because at the end of the day, it didn't turn out to be my alternator at all. But anyways, long story short, the tow truck shows up, the gentleman leaves, he shows him his card, we both give him like a huge hug and say like, thank you so much. Neither of us got his last name, and the tow truck guy never gave it to us. Either we asked for it, but he said there was a bit of a confidentiality thing on it, and then we got talking, so I think he just kind of forgot that I asked. But basically, this gentleman had a plan with, or like his premium account or whatever it was. Most tow truck or most CAA things, I guess, only cover like 350-kilometer treks. His covered 200. That tow truck took me, my sister, both the kids, and my car all the way home. 2-hour drive for completely free.
And the driver was an absolute
incredible.
Gem. He was so
His
good.
name was what, Mike? Was it Mike?
No, it was, oh my god. Yeah, Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
And he's like, I'll take you guys all the way home. No charge. It'll be fine. I'll take it right to your... He literally dropped it off at my garage. Like, at my normal mechanic, so...
And then waited to make sure that our ride got there.
Yeah, like, it was... He was very, very kind.
So good.
So at the end of the day, like, it was all really, really... I mean, like, there was... In the middle of it, I had a phone call with my mom where she... You know, you tell her I'm 2 hours away and I can't get home. And she just, like, broke down, and I had to be like... If you break down, I'm gonna break down, and I've got 2 kids in the back that are watching me. So... We both need to realize, no matter what, we're gonna make it home. We're not like, we're not in a different country. We're not like frozen out of Canada. We're just 2 hours away. My car's broken, and we need to find a way home. So getting upset over it wasn't going to be the answer. Like, we had to calm, cool, collected, and just figure it out. You know,
I understand her frustration.
I do
because
too.
She was our mom.
We ended up telling her like, we're getting a free tow truck home, and she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, it seems like maybe good things can happen once in a while. And so, yeah, I got my car to the mechanic, and the mechanic found the problem right away, and it was a broken belt. And he actually, it's funny that this kind of happened. Well, you guys remember how I told you I had that big hole in my windshield? Well, when I had my car parked for, 2 weeks, while I was waiting to get my windshield fixed, apparently something got in and chewed it to shreds. Callie likes to boil it down to this. When we were sitting in the car... literally, 20 minutes before the tow truck showed up?
I stepped out of the car just to stretch my legs.
And the gentleman was standing outside the door, and we were just chatting. And this wonderful little butterfly, which I actually didn't think it looked like that. I thought it would look burnt. But this butterfly landed on my sister. And the gentleman says, well, now you're going to have good luck. And we were like, what? Like, ha ha ha, funny.
And this is while we're still waiting for
yeah, and he's like, that's the old wives' tale, is if a butterfly lands on you, you're going to have good luck. Literally, 5 minutes later, my car is on a tow truck.
On the hoist, and away it goes.
And we were going home for free. So, I mean...
So while it started out as a bad day...
A little bit of positivity.
Yeah.
A little bit of positivity, yeah. And, like, yeah, at the end of the day... It was what we made it, you know? And that was, like... So that was, I think, why this Storytime was a big thing to me, was because it was, like... First of all, because I didn't get the names of the people that helped us. There was a handful of people that stopped their cars. A handful of people who got out and helped us. There was people that helped our kids. There was people that tried to fix the problem. And even though most of them couldn't, I never got their names. And this is like my way of being like, thank you to anyone that's watching this video who has done a good deed, stopping and asking if somebody needs help, offering assistance in any way, shape, or form. Like, it was all of them that made it better. Like, knowing that people were stopping and thinking about how people were thinking about us. Like, the one lady, she had driven by, saw us there, drove by again, saw us still there, so she brought jumper cables. Then she offered to go back to her house to bring us food, water, like, stuff.
The first thing she said was, "Okay, what do you need?"
Yeah, and like, it's because
Her name
of
was
that.
Lisa.
Lisa, that's right. It's because of that I really wanted to share this story, I think, because literally, like, kindness is so simple. To be kind to someone is so easy, and it's so hard to be taken for granted. A nice person gets taken for granted. It was because of these very kind people stopping and offering. Honestly, he offered us something he pays for. I don't know how many toes he gets a year or whatever, but he gave one to us with no expectation of anything other than, like, a thank you. A thank you and a hug. That's literally all we could offer.
I said to his wife, I said, "I don't even know what we can do to thank you." And she said, "Just say thank you." And I said, "Well, thank you very much."
Like, there are still good people in the world. I really hope that all of you guys have a brush with some of these good people sometime in your life, because there's a lot of good people, and there's only room for growth. There's always going to be room for growth.
Absolutely.
That's, I think, the biggest thing that comes out of it is, like, when I think about it, like, I don't even really think so much about the bad stuff. Like, I had to make a note of all the bad stuff, because the kindness and the generosity, so many levels.
Blew it out of the water.
Yeah. So, this is my way of saying thank you to those people. We do really appreciate your help. I'm sure you guys won't ever see this video, but I'm sure that, I really hope that if you ever need help, someone's there for you the way you were for us. And honestly,
you helped make kind of a disaster of a day. You turned it around
into something, into a good story. You turned this nightmare.
Bonding day. We got to meet new people. We got
experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of restores your faith in humanity a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for sure. And it was, yeah, like, I'm really, really thankful for every single person involved in that situation. And I can only promise that from here on out, I'll try harder to be that for others. And anyways, that's why we wanted to share this story. It was a really crappy day, but it was like, it turned out good, you know? Like, at the end of the day, we got home. The only thing we didn't get was we didn't get to go to the zoo, and we didn't get our Laura Secord ice cream, which I still think about.
We're going to Toronto this weekend.
We're going to Toronto
tomorrow. Maybe we'll find a mall with Laura Secord.
I'll look for one. There will be one.
Yes.
There's one in Newmarket.
It'll be a stop.
Just because we were able to get my car home, I now know for a fact that I've got my car home, and I'm able to drive it to Toronto. It's hopefully going to last. We can only say prayers for that. But one other really cool thing has come from this. I finally named my car.
Oh my God.
Hey, Callie, would you like to tell the world of YouTube what I've decided to name my car?
Chaos.
I bring chaos everywhere I go.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, that's the story for today. I hope you guys found it at least semi-intriguing or interesting, or I hope you guys learned something. Always be kind to others. Always try to make the best out of situations, and try to be kind to those who need it.
Because it could be you.
It could always be you.
Just because it's not you, it could be you.
Yeah. Always put yourself in that position as, like, what if this was me? What would I want done for me?
See it from all perspectives.
Yeah. That's, like, the big thing from this story, is just always try to be the light. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys. You know what? Actually, I'm going to be honest. I might even have more than one video this week, because we're about to bulk film the crap out of this. So I've got like 5 videos. We're literally here with like a thing of videos ideas there and a thing of video ideas there that she doesn't know about. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, because those videos, I forgot what I was doing. Make sure you subscribe, because those videos are coming very, very soon. If not this week, then next week. I'm probably going to have 2 videos, and then, drum roll please, the I Know What I Saw series will be back, because it'll be back sometime this October. Probably not next Thursday, but the Thursday after that. So be ready for that. And other than that, well, that's actually all I've got. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye!